With us, let's now turn attention to other matters. United Nations is seeking global interest in water sanitation for health safety. At the organizational session of the 2026 UN Water Conference in New York, President of the Water Light Safe Initiative, Nigeria's Dr. Ero Iwafido, emphasized the need for resilient infrastructure, global partnership, policy advocacy, better hygiene, and behavioral change. He also emphasized the need for improved education on the proper usage of water and the sanitation to communities. The conference presents a crucial opportunity to accelerate global efforts towards achieving SDG 6, which ensures clean practices.
Water insecurity is a silent catastrophe. 1 in every 3 people lack access to safe drinking water, and every 2 minutes a child dies from a waterborne disease. Climate change is worsening this crisis, drying up rivers and contaminating vital water sources. We are halfway through the UN Water Action Decade, yet progress towards Sustainable Development Goal 6, clean water and sanitation for all, remains too slow. This is not just a crisis, it is a failure in leadership. At Water Light Safe Initiative, we are proving that community-driven solutions can deliver sustainable water access where it is needed most.
Joining me from New York is Dr. Ero Iwafido. He is the president and founder Water Light Safe Initiative. Good to have you join us.
Thank you, Precious, for having me.
So every time we talk about water challenges around the world, the reaction is always, why are we talking about water? We have, the world has a large body of water. We have oceans, we have rivers. Why is water a problem? And I wanted you to start from there to speak to the problem itself before we expand to other areas.
Thank you very much. Based on the recent research, climate change is one major problem contaminating basic water sources, like the river you just mentioned. And in most cases, when we try to actually get water from the ground, most of the water is already contaminated. So having a safe drinking water over the years has become a major problem. And that is why the UN decided to take this initiative up to make sure that we have safe drinking water globally. And like you know, the world have found out that water is an essential necessity, and like everybody knows, water is life. So we needed a situation whereby we can provide a safe drinking water for everybody, and people are being able to actually access safe drinking water globally without having to go through the hooks and crannies of the hustle of getting safe drinking water. And the United Nations at this light are making a steady effort to make sure that we get safe water across to the world. And that's why that organization section of the UN Water Conference was held 2 days ago. And definitely a lot of impacts were made and a lot of contributions were made. And we believe that this is the beginning of a good way moving forward.
And just last year, that's 2024, there was a report that over about 411 million Africans lack access to safe, drinking water. And I wanted to speak to how big of a challenge safe drinking water is, for Africans and even Nigerians.
Now, like Nigerians, where you just mentioned now, which is my home country as well, where I'm from, we understand that water is a huge challenge in Nigeria, and a lot of people do not. Most of the water we even drink in those in Abuja, Lagos, we feel like we're drinking good water. Some of those water are contaminated. And even in Lagos, in the island, you understand that a lot of people are also having to deal with those safe water challenges. So it's a global challenge, not just for Africa alone. It's a global challenge, and the world have got to recognize that challenge. And that is why this conference is being held. And we are trying to get the funds are have been released for this, and we actually, like I proposed, that we should have like a global fund, security fund for water innovations and security, whereby mostly those vulnerable communities will be able to gain access to safe drinking water, and they don't have to actually buy the bottled water. The reason why everybody wants to drink bottled water is because they feel that's the safest water to drink. So you take, for instance, if you can just go to your tap and get water to drink, even in the US, you can't just go to any household and open their tap to drink water. Some are filtered and some are not filtered. So yes, safe drinking water is a necessity globally. It's not only in Africa, everywhere in the world. In some
Dr.
countries like in Europe,
I want to stay on the point you raised about having a global fund, for access to safe drinking water. How was that received, and how realistic is that? Because we see that, look, when it comes to climate change, most of the pledges that have been made for climate change have still not, nothing has happened in that regard.
That was, thank you very much, Precious. That was one of the reasons why I called for the time for deliberations has passed. Let us start with actions. And now, with this water conference, a lot of steps have been made to make sure that those funds are being utilized properly, not just like, oh, funds are being raised, like the Dubai Minister for Climate said the other day. He said the funds are available. Now we need the right initiatives to get this thing to the right people. And yes, funds were raised for the climate change, and trust me, probably they got into the wrong hands. And if you noted on my third point, that'll be the second one, I noted that nations should also be held accountable for most of these funds. Like, you can't release funds to nations and they are not accountable for it. That is, they need to account for those funds. That is why most importantly, also, it is also good to work with private sectors that will account for it, because most of these nations that has tenures in government, local government, presidencies, when their tenures are over, those funds are not being accounted for. Yeah, so, but when there is an accountability, and it will go a long way to make sure that those funds are being utilized for the right purpose.
All right. We'll see how things play out. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your contribution to ensuring that there's access to safe drinking water across the different continents. President, founder, Water Light Save Initiative, Dr. Ero.